Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to my channel for another Hot Toys 1/6 scale Indiana Jones figure unboxing and review. Today, we're taking a look at the deluxe version of Indy, based off his appearance in the Dial of Destiny. Now, I got mine at a discount from Pop Collectibles. I've popped a link to their site in the description, along with the discount code Justin's Collection, for 5% off your order if you decide to buy from them. As always, do your own research, make sure you're comfortable before buying. If you're heading down to the description, why not hit that subscribe, bell notification icon, and join button, so you're notified as soon as brand new indie content goes live on the channel. I know it's not what everyone was after. Y'all want young indie, and I do as well. By all means, Hot Toys, please. A new Raiders indie would be fantastic. But I'm not about to sit here and complain we've got one from Dial of Destiny. It's been years since we received the DX05. I'm hoping to see a lot of improvements with this piece. I like having bookend displays, like early on in a character's career and then them at the end of it, and I'm going to be able to do that now with Indy. As for the box art, an image of Harrison Ford in costume, I don't think that's the figure, unfortunately, although it could be. The movie logo below that, then a shot of the train scene from the start of the film. Interesting that they reference this. I've got thoughts on that. We'll discuss in just a second. Overall, it's a really large format box. It feels very DX, and this is the deluxe version, but they've not billed this as a DX piece. This video is brought to you by justinscollection.shop, the home of the figure first aid kit, as well as other accessories to help your collection be the best it can be. The first aid kit contains multiple tools to help you with maintenance, styling rooted hair, and much more. We also sell crotch grabbers, soft rubber tips to prevent damage, and they're compatible with most modern Hot Toys base molds. Acrylic risers come in multi-packs. They're optically clear, thick and sturdy, and stackable. Check out the link to justinscollection.shop in the description. It's also got this really high quality matte textured finish to it, and the artwork up front screams indie movie poster. If I had room in the display to actually have this behind Indy, I would do that. On the side of the box, his name, and that's likely a silhouetted image of the figure in a pose, if I had to guess. I don't think that's actually Harrison Ford in costume. Around the back, the brownish, warm sepia tone over everything just fits the vibe of Indy perfectly. We've got a shot of him with his sleeves rolled up, quite Cairo-esque from Raiders, with the warnings and legal information on top of that. Then down below, another picture of Indy traversing a rope bridge with his flashlight on. And I'm pleased to report in 1/6 scale, his flashlight, the one that comes included in this set, is actually functional, so you can recreate that scene. They have considered every little detail on this box. Even on the bottom of it, we've got 1969, the adventure begins again, racing across the globe, his hat, his whip, and his name above that. Now the train. I would have liked to have seen a proper DX Indy with a young Indiana Jones head sculpt included, because in that train scene right at the start of the movie, they de-aged him. That would have been a clever way around licensing, and they could have chucked in, like I said, that young indie head sculpt. Because who's to say that licensing for Raiders or Temple or Last Crusade isn't very expensive now? This might have been their only opportunity to slip in a young indie head sculpt. They didn't do that. I'm not going to hold it against this piece. This slipcover is pure brilliance. The picture of Harrison Ford, it looks like stuff that would be laid out before Indy's travels. We've got the airplane ticket, stamps, little pictures, silhouetted shot of him. I'm at the very least tempted to display that behind this figure, but we'll have to wait and see. Immediately upon opening the clamshell, the genuine leather smell is just wafting towards me. It hits you like a ton of bricks. So much genuine leather with this figure. First in-hand impressions for older Indy. So far, so good. I'm loving the feel of this jacket. What we're going to do now is get all of his accessories laid out in the light box and take a closer look at everything he comes with. Starting off with the display base first, and holy shit, they straight up cooked with the diorama base. if you are considering skipping the Deluxe and getting the Standard because you're not sure about the base, don't do that. Cop the Deluxe, so worth it. It not only looks incredible, and it does. We'll talk about sculpt and paint in a second. It's modular. You can flip the thing around. You can use it in multiple different ways. We'll talk about it. Take a moment to appreciate all of the sculpt work and the paint apps. The jagged looking rock face, the darker shading, which really accentuates the crevices, especially from a distance. It makes it look like there's some real depth going on. The lighter dry brush makes the texture pop, and there's some green shading that comes across as though like dirty old cave water has been trickling down, discoloring the rock, and moss is starting to grow on it. The wooden planks around the back, they're insane with this super fine wood grain texture and the cracks and the chunks taken out of them. The paint, you can see it, like it's so good. The rope, that is real rope that's also been weathered. Then we've got thicker rope up top. You can sort of pose this in a way by tucking it behind the wooden planks to manage it, and I suggest you do that because otherwise it flies away. Or you can take this post off entirely, it is optional. Speaking of optional, this nameplate of sorts, the movie logo, doesn't have to be the front of the base. If you want to use this with Temple of Doom Indy because it would work with him, flip it round. You can still use the calf clamp. Yes, you heard that correctly, calf clamp. So Indy will still be secured to the base even though you've turned it around. The sides, maybe you could get away with it, but I think front and back probably your best option. Let's discuss this thing. It's removable. If you take it off, they give you a little rock to cover the hole. I'll show you in a second. But the way you attach Indy to the base, you roll up his pants, slide his calf through that, roll the pants back down, and it is completely hidden. This, I want to see more of going forward because I'm not a huge fan of big, ugly crotch grabbers, and that seems like not only a secure way to have figures planted on their bases, but it's not going to ruin the aesthetics of the figure standing there. It's not going to scream 1/6 scale action figure for figure photography. Plugging that rock in, not the easiest thing in the world to do like you saw, but when you push it down and lock it in place, the port for the calf clamp, completely hidden. This base, 10 out of 10 for me. Okay, check this out. I've got Indy on the base now, and from front on, like I said, you can't see the calf clamp. When you start to turn it, yes, it becomes more visible. Even then, it's a really little black piece of metal wire that slides into his pants. From a distance, in the collection, that is not going to jump out at you. Well done, Hot Toys. You all know me. I'm a huge fan of 1/6 scale backpacks. So this is one hell of a wide 1/6 scale bag. Storing his spare hands or accessories inside of it, that way you don't have to go rifling through an accessory tub or hunting for the box in storage. I love that for us. To open it up, you can remove this strap from the buckle. Please don't do it. The straps feel like pleather to me. They look like pleather. They don't smell like real leather, so they're probably quite fragile. I would just lift up the flap from one side, remove the pillow stuffing from underneath the rope, then you can pop all of the bits and pieces underneath the rope before pushing everything back down. I'm 99% sure that this bag is Dial of Destiny specific. I don't remember him wearing this in any of the other films, although admittedly it's been a while since I've done an indie marathon. Yeah, I know, pleather, it's shit, we don't like the stuff, but I'm pleased to report that for all of the really important accessories, that bag I could take or leave. This one, the strap, is real leather. It smells the part, it looks awesome, and because it's thicker, it should hug his body properly. Then we've got this suede-like texture on the inside of it. The top flap, we can open it up. There's press studs there. Be careful with them. They are notoriously fragile. Multiple little separators and even a pocket so you can slot one of the tools inside of there. I like to think I know a little bit about 1/6 scale indies. I've got 5 of the darn things, some custom, some third party, Sideshow Hot Toys, but still, I guess I don't know everything because a lot of people are saying that this whip is shit. I don't think it's shit. It's fully wired, and it's genuine leather. Could it be thinner? Yeah, maybe, but I don't know. I'm totally satisfied with this new indie whip, especially the fact that it's made of real leather. Okay, question for y'all. Indie with or without the tie? We'll try it out on him later, but in Last Crusade, he gets away with it because he's trying to dress up his look for his dad to impress him. In Dial of Destiny, he just feels like Grandpa Indiana Jones with the tie on. I'm leaning towards not having him displayed with it. Back in the day, these 100% would have been made out of die-cast. They loved making die-cast tools back then. However, playing devil's advocate, the sculpt and paint wouldn't have been anywhere near as good as this. The rusty effect on both of them, that mottled metal texture, the little raised bumpies, the shiny silver dry brushing, the wood grain on the handle for the hammer, then the rib detail for the pliers. Yes, these can't open, but they look and feel great, in my opinion. What I'm trying to say is not everything has to have a weight to it, as long as it looks and feels the part, without being overly heavy, not a deal breaker for me. Sometimes die-cast weapons, they're too heavy and they can set a pose off balance or hands pop off because of them. Not saying that would have been an issue for Indy, just something to consider. Archimedes' dial is flawless. The sunken in front section, the little hands, you can't move them, but they are separate pieces that stick off the main body of the sculpt work. All of this detail around the edge, the cogs, visible through the ports on the side, this stuff around the back, the shiny metallic finish, you can see how light is gleaming off this, and the grungy look. There's a wash and there's speckling. This, you can clearly tell, is a pretty old artifact. Yeah, this thing is so sick. It's a flashlight. Like, it's basic in the way it's sculpted and painted. Silver, brown wash, brown speckling. You can move the front piece. There's a lens there. Watch this. Opening up the bottom, flicking the switch. You saw that, right? The light is real. It's a real flashlight. Do I wish the LED was yellow tinted rather than bluish cool white? Of course, not a deal breaker for me. Seeing this thing actually work, having this front part move up and down, I never thought they'd do something like this. I'm so glad they did. Why wouldn't they do something like that? Because electronics are expensive. They already added so much genuine leather to this piece. Likely it would have bumped up the cost. They could have skipped it. They didn't. They gave it to us anyway. Lastly, a full array of hands, including relaxed open palm ones, already installed on him right out of the box. How's the detail on the hands though? Do they look like older indie hands? The baggy looking skin for certain sections, the rosy shading and the intense vein work, yeah, they look like old indie hands to me. And the sculpt is not symmetrical left to right. They haven't just done one and flipped the sculpt digitally to give us left and right hands. They're proper unique sculpts for either side. These, closed fists. Two gripping hands. How easy is it to pry the fingers open to pop the whip in there? Yeah, it's going to be no problem. Would have liked two of these Hot Toys. Pairs would be nice, but only one for the right side. It's another gripping hand. His pointer finger is separate. There's some nice separation there, and his thumb is sticking out. What we're going to do now is get Indy himself out here. Standing straight up and down in the light box, no crazy poses or accessories or anything like that, except for his whip on his belt and his satchel bag. I've installed them just to complete the look. Well, shit. I wasn't super excited for Dial of Destiny Indy. The movie was good, I enjoyed it. But I didn't think it was great. Not Harrison Ford's strongest outing as Indiana Jones. So when this figure was announced, yes, the detail was there and the display base was cool. It wasn't top of my want list for 2025. Now that I have it, I could not have been more wrong with that line of thinking. This figure slaps. The proportions are so realistic. The way the fabric outfit hugs the body, that looks believable. And the head sculpt, even from a distance, might be their best attempt at Harrison Ford in 1/6 scale to date. Dude, that looks like a real person, up close and personal, kicking things off with Indy's head sculpt. In my opinion, you don't have to agree with me. It is perfect. For modern day Indy, this is a perfect 1/6 scale head sculpt. The likeness, unquestionable. That is Harrison Ford from every angle. No matter which way I turn the piece, move the head sculpt round, I can see him. The expression, this eye is slightly more squinted, this side of his mouth kicks up a bit, that works for me, a subtle smirk, always a good thing for Indy. And he's got moving eyes, which is just icing on the cake. And then the detail, the skin texture, the baggy looking skin underneath his eyes, the scar on his chin right there, the fidelity of the pores and the 5 o'clock shadow on his upper lip, everything is blowing my mind with how good it looks. This is why we love it when Hot Toys does head sculpts of older people, because they can pack so much detail into them. Now, yes, there is a split underneath the head sculpt so that they could keep all of this detail, which we will talk about. That means from certain angles, you are going to see that gap. From most, it's not all that visible. Just underneath his ear, that's where it stands out. 3/4 turn. Nope, his bottom earlobe blocks it. You can see a shadow underneath his jawline. He's got a defined jawline anyway, doesn't make a massive difference for me. The skin tone neck, the detail there is even beautiful. The vein work, the wrinkling, that baggy skin on his Adam's apple. The only complaint I have is you can't take the hat off. You could argue that they've done that for ultimate seamlessness, for it to look good and perfect with the hat on. Yes, I agree with you there, but having it come off wouldn't have impacted the way this looks at all. You could have retained the hair coming down the sides and out the back, just have an additional hair piece that pops over the top, like what they did with DX05. Speaking of the hair, at the back, the little wispy strands, painted in dark grey first, then a lighter grey dry brush, so there's some shadowing at play. Some actual crevices too, so real shadows in there. And the asymmetrical sculpt work at the bottom, the jagged edges, that makes it look quite natural, as though his hair is genuinely falling on the back of his neck. Indy's hat is so important to the look of him, they needed to nail it. I reckon they did. Shape and size-wise, it fits the head sculpt perfectly, not too big or too small. It kicks down around the front, up at the sides, then scoops at the back the way it's supposed to. But the band, I kind of wish that was fabric like what we saw with the DX05 hat. It's sculpted well, the bow sits proud of the surface, there's some line work on it, it looks like fabric, but nothing beats actually making it out of fabric like what they did previously. The hat is darker in tone, and seeing as though this is older Indy, I reckon that makes sense. There's more of a shine to the plastic for the hat this time. A matte coat would have dulled that down and made it look more fabric or material-like. There's a texture, this mottled look to it, but the shine is what throws it off. You can see it, yeah? The way light is bouncing off it as I'm shifting this hat around. That was not the case with the DX05 hat. This was extremely matte. Getting a little lost in the weeds now, Justin. Let's move on from the hat and talk about the head sculpt again. This is the Force Awakens Han Solo, and I thought they were going to reuse it at first. It looks similar because it's the same person, obviously, but the expression is different, the facial structure is different, and we've got a skin tone neck on this head sculpt versus the fixed neck that's part of the body on the Dial of Destiny Indy. So if you're wondering about switching head sculpts between the pieces, unfortunately, it's just not possible. This is what I've been waiting for. Let's do some rapid fire eye position tests with Indy. So first step is to remove the head sculpt. Then to move his eyes around, plenty of access inside of the head. You don't need to grab the tool if you don't want to, if you don't have it to hand. Side eye looking to the right. Let's pop it on the body, then we can discuss. Oh yes, absolutely. Head tilt forward, head tilt the other way. The moving eyes just make this head sculpt for me. Yes, the expression was good, the detail is near perfect, if not perfect. But moving eyes just takes this head sculpt to that next level. Oh, looking the other way, just as good. Because there's so much range at the base of the neck, you can get extremely expressive with this head sculpt. Use the baked in little smirk they've got going on, tilt the head, and you can alter the way this head sculpt looks without really having to do much. See, now he looks pissed. Angle the head sculpt forward, he's peering out from underneath the brim of his hat. He's about to kick some serious butt. It's older Indy, but he can still kick ass. I want to try the DX05 head sculpt on this body and maybe another head swap. Let's give that a go. Oh, that looks pretty freaking good. It's not perfect. There is a skin tone mismatch. The baggy, wrinkly skin screams old Indy, not young Indy. From a distance, that is more than serviceable. To get the DX05 head sculpt connected to the body, you need to remove the stock one, unplug this double ball peg neck connector. Then, because the DX05 head has the ball joint already underneath it, you push this on, snap it in place, and it's properly securely connected. The benefit with this young Indy head sculpt is you've got the removable hat. There's a separate hairpiece that's not so compacted. You can pop that on there. And he's still got moving eyes. Every now and then, I might display him like this. How about the present toys Indiana Jones head sculpt? It doesn't connect to the neck connector properly, but that means you can height adjust it. It's sitting in place with friction though. Don't bump this, otherwise it will go flying. I've always liked it, but not as much as the DX05 head sculpt. They're both good. This one trumps it in terms of features though. The removable hat, the interchangeable hairpiece, and moving eyes, whereas the present toy sculpt has none of that. Back to stock, and back to looking like $1,000,000. The leather jacket. Real leather jacket. This, one of the biggest reasons to get this piece. Even if you're going to display him with the young Indy head sculpt, the real jacket, real leather bag strap, real leather whip strap, and real leather boots, all 10 out of 10s. The jacket itself, very thin material, so it hugs the body properly. Usually with real leather jackets and other bits in 1/6 scale, they can be big and bulky and cumbersome. Not the case with Dial of Destiny Indy's jacket. And it's all accurate. The split vents at the back, this strap, the real metal buckles. The stitching is really clean. The length of the sleeves just long enough to cover most of his hands and hide that wrist peg. Then, the real metal zipper track, but no zip on it. You might think that's a bit weird because now you can't do up the jacket, but I would much rather just have the track without the oversized zipper because that breaks the illusion of this being a real life person for figure photography very quickly when there's a big oversized zipper right up front. These pockets technically are functional, but I would not pop anything in there. Otherwise, this very smooth, flat finish at the front of the jacket would be ruined very quickly. See all of the lighter brown, almost distressing, like where the wrinkles would be? That is printed on the surface. They've not made the jacket out of dark brown leather, then sanded it to give it that aged, patinaed look. They faked it. So this is a brand new, very fresh jacket with faux weathering on the surface. Very clever the way they've done that. How does it compare to the DX05 pleather jacket? Immeasurably. You can't compare them. This is the real deal. Oh, and wired top collar, I think. The DX05 jacket had that oversized fake zipper on it. Big chonky pockets. The pleather, flaking on my copy. It's cracking in certain areas. And the leather grain, for some reason, was a lot larger. This was synthetic. They could have faked the leather grain to make it look accurate and in scale. Somehow, even though this is using real leather, the scale of the grain is much closer than what they gave us previously. In Dial of Destiny, he had his bag over his jacket, whereas in all of the previous films, pretty much, it was underneath the jacket. You could take this off, pop the bag on, then reinstall the jacket, but to be movie accurate, I'm going to leave it like this. His shirt has some faux buttons up front, and instead, it closes with magnets. There's skin texture, there's some chest hair sculpted on. There's even some anatomy, some abs. I'm not sure if anyone's going to display him with his shirt open, older Indy with his bare chest exposed. Not my vibe, but the option is there if you want to take advantage of it. It's not my vibe. Once again, it's another option that's there if you want it. Because of the fact that there's a faux button, a thick plastic button on one side of the collar but not the other, it doesn't sit flat on his neck, and that wrinkly skin already sticks out a bit, so it's very thick there at the front. That means that it doesn't look like the collar is properly closed. You can futz with the tie to get it to look better, but then when you pose him, the tie tends to move around. I think they missed a trick by not giving us a wired tie. Can you imagine that? Like he's doing a whip cracking pose and the tie is going off to one side? That would have been brilliant. It's a very thin, lightweight fabric as well. The tie, it just hangs naturally, and the bag strap will keep it pinned in place. It's not something that I'm ever going to rock him with. It makes him look even older than he already looks. Okay, I kinda like the backpack. It's not really visible from around the front. You can just see these straps from the 3/4 turn, from the side, from the back. It adds a lot of visual interest to the back of him. And who's to say that he wouldn't have a backpack on with his various gadgets and tools and bits and pieces inside of it? If you took the jacket off, could you display him with his sleeves rolled up? Maybe. Those wrist pegs, they're very big, they're very obvious, and very ugly. Just bare unpainted plastic. They have, however, fully sculpted, painted, and detailed his forearms, so it's going to be up to you. If you don't mind seeing the wrist pegs, then yes, go for it. His belt is a proper functional belt with a real metal belt buckle, and check out the weathering and the shine on that. Then there's a genuine leather strap with a magnet on it to hold the whip in place, and because the whip is wide, you can spool it up and it'll hold its shape. They've even weathered the pants. They always struggle to weather fabric, but the knees up here on the thighs, down below around the back, yeah, around the back there's also weathering. Now, the one thing I would suggest doing with his pants is, right out of the box, they were sitting very high. I pulled them down just so that they look baggier at the bottom the way they're supposed to. Normally, Indy's pants are a lot lighter than this, more of a tan color versus this greyish, purpley brown, but these are accurate to Dial of Destiny. And I've just spotted that he does have some real working pockets up top. Oh, they are spoiling us with these boots. As you already know, genuine leather. And they're weathered. And the contrasting stitching. The real laces. The fabric socks. The stitching sculpted around the edge for the sole. The multiple layers for the heel. The weathering on the underside. The sculpted and painted stitching. I could go on and on about these boots. They are just that good. For a quick side-by-side comparison, before we get started, my DX05 is not stock. Present Toys head sculpt, replacement holster and belt and bag strap, because the Hot Toys pleather bits, they disintegrated into nothing. Thank you, Hot Toys, for that. Dial of Destiny looks too big at first, but then when you think about it, the proportions are better because they've stretched out the body a little. If they were to give us a new Raiders or Temple of Doom or Last Crusade Indy, I wouldn't be surprised if they reuse the Dial of Destiny body, just changing out that neck/torso piece to make him look younger because the proportions are a lot more realistic. Then of course give us all the genuine leather bits and pieces over the DX05 pleather stuff because that too is a huge upgrade. Interesting, I know Sideshow figures run larger, but he's got a very tall display base, so I never noticed how much taller he is versus DX05. He's quite close in scale alongside Dial of Destiny Indy. This is Sideshow's Temple of Doom piece, still, to this day, in my opinion, one of their strongest 1/6 scale releases. And finally, next to another older Harrison Ford 1/6 scale figure from them, here we have The Force Awakens Han Solo. He's shorter than Indy at the shoulders. It's not just the hat that's giving Dial of Destiny Indy a height boost. Going over articulation, starting off with Indy's head sculpt. Ball joint at the base of the neck, double ball peg underneath the head itself, looking all the way forward. That is so much range. all the way back, as well as that neck springs forward a touch, but enough range for me personally, then swivel and tons of pivot side to side. Arms completely flushed down by his sides, no problem, going up to there, hindered a little by the jacket, forward and back on soft ratchets, butterfly joint at the shoulder that hinges up and down. Swivel at the bicep, double bend at the elbow going past 90, and I'm pleased to report that even at a max bend, that wrist peg is not revealed. Speaking of the wrist peg, it's a hinge and swivel. His torso, midsection joint, and waist joint crunching forward to there, going back to there. There's some padding to contend with. Swivel and pivot side to side. Legs are heavily padded for the thighs, which means they are heavily restricted, going forward to there, and trust me, I am fighting them. Going out to there, swivel at the upper thigh. Ratcheted double bend at the knee, going the full way, past 90. Then a double ball peg for the ankles inside the genuine leather boots. They're soft enough to allow heaps of forward and back rotation, as well as plenty of ankle tilt. Moving on to the 3 cool and 3 annoying things. The first annoying thing is so minor. All of these are extremely minor because it's a near perfect figure, but you can't take the hat off. Like, they couldn't have given us a switch out hairpiece for this. They've done it in the past. Why not with this new indie? Having the hat fixed on his head, it just limits what you can do with him. The second annoying thing, they were this close to giving us genuine leather on all of Indy's accessories. But the straps around the back for his backpack, the handle up top, this stuff at the front, they're all made of pleather, and I really wish they weren't. The third annoying thing, come on Hot Toys, how did you do this to us? Huge missed opportunity not to give us a new young Indiana Jones head sculpt. At the start of the movie, we saw young Indy, so it's not like it would have been a completely random throw-in. For the Deluxe, they should have given us that head. The first cool thing, and this makes me so freaking happy, genuine leather jacket, genuine leather bag strap, genuine leather whip holster, genuine leather and wired whip, plus genuine leather boots. All of this stuff, unlike with DX05, should stand the test of time. The second cool thing, you might argue that they're solving a problem not a lot of us had, with visible crotch grabbers and waist clamps by hiding it and using a calf clamp instead. I call it innovation. I want to see them focusing on the little details, innovating on stuff like this going forward. The third cool thing, it ain't perfect because of the baggy, wrinkly looking skin around the front and the extra wrinkles and all of the extra detail and the lighter skin tone. But it ain't half bad. If you're desperate for a young Indy, you can pick up a DX05 head sculpt relatively cheap, and it is 100% compatible with this body. Remove the stock head sculpt, unplug the double ball peg. This one properly connects onto the neck and it's secure. I am tempted to display him like this, but likely with the tie on to hide that neck detail. Wrapping up on Hot Toys, Dial of Destiny, Indiana Jones. They went way harder than I think any of us were expecting them to. This figure is a masterpiece. Is it a must-have? Well, that depends on you. If you don't like older Indy, you could never see yourself adding an older Indy to your collection, and this review has done nothing to move the needle for you, then yeah, no, probably not. Don't get him. But if you're after the best, most well put together, most well proportioned, genuine leather outfit wearing 1/6 scale Indy that's mass produced and not custom, this is it. Don't hear what I'm not saying. I didn't claim that this was the definitive 1/6 scale Indy. I said it was the best, and I strongly believe it is. From a build quality perspective, the body is sturdy as, and the proportions are spot on. Then we've got all of the genuine leather bits. Still some pleather, but it's for the backpack, and I'm still 50-50 on the backpack anyway. The head sculpt, plus it's got moving eyes, so it all comes together to make for a very compelling package for an older Indy. If you want to represent Indy mid-career and at the end of it, the journey of his character in your display, this is an essential piece. I would not be putting together an indie display without this. Now that I've seen it in hand, it is seriously that freaking good. Now, I got mine at a discount from Pop Collectibles. I've popped a link to their site in the description, along with the discount code Justin's Collection, for 5% off your order if you decide to buy from them. As always, do your own research, make sure you're comfortable before buying. If you're heading down to the description, why not hit that subscribe, bell notification icon, and join button if you like the sound of seeing your name in the end credits of my reviews. Like, comment, and subscribe. We'll catch you in the next video.